Hello friends, welcome to my channel Success Forum. Today I will start with Venn diagram approach, or what you can call syllogism. So let's start the video. Welcome to Success Forum. Hit the subscribe and the bell button to be updated. Okay, so I am starting with syllogism. To do syllogism, we can apply Venn diagram approach. So, what is syllogism? A syllogism is a form of deductive inference. Now, I will explain what you mean by deductive and inductive method in my next videos, but I am just giving a synopsis of that. Syllogism is a form of deductive inference. So what do you mean by deductive? Deductive means from some statements we are getting a solution. That means we are deducing some conclusion from some statements. That is known as deductive inference. So syllogism is a form of deductive inference in which what is drawn? Conclusion. As I have said, deductive means we are drawing a conclusion from some statements. So it is a deductive inference in which conclusion is drawn from two or more statement or premises jointly. Okay? So a syllogism is a form of deductive inference in which conclusion is drawn from two or more premises jointly. Now, next. A syllogism consists of three terms. A syllogism consists of three terms. Number one is major term. What do you mean by major term? It is the predicate of the conclusion. Number two is minor term. It is the subject of the conclusion. And number C is middle term. What do you mean by middle term? It occurs in both the premises, that is in both the statements, but it will not be present in the conclusion. That means middle term is such a term which will be there in both the premises of statements, but it will not be in the conclusion. Okay. Now let us see an example to explain this thing. Okay. Premises 1. All men are mortal. All men are mortal. And premises 2, all kings are men. So here we are getting men and mortal as subject and predicate, and here we are getting kings and men as subject and predicate. So in premises 1, all men are mortal. In premises 2, all kings are men. And the conclusion that we can get from it is all kings are mortal. All kings are mortal. Now we will identify the major term, minor term and the middle term out of this thing. So what I have said, major term means predicate of the conclusion. What is predicate and what is subject? Subject is the first thing. Okay. The first thing that we are concentrating on the statement. What is the first relevant thing in this statement in the conclusion? It is kings. So it is the subject. It is the subject. What is the next thing? All kings are what? Are mortal. So it is the predicate. Okay. So kings are the subject and mortal is the predicate. So what will be the major term? Major term is the predicate of the conclusion. So it is the conclusion, and the predicate of the conclusion here is mortal. So our major term will be mortal. So our major term will be mortal as it is the predicate of the conclusion. Okay, next. Minor term. So what do you mean by minor term? Minor term signifies subject of the conclusion. So what is the subject of our conclusion? Our subject is kings. So a minor term will be kings, which is the subject of our conclusion. Okay, the last one, middle term. Middle term is such a term which exists in both the premises but not in the conclusion. So, in both the premises, out of these four terms, men, mortal, kings and men. Okay, the middle term should exist in both the premises but not in conclusion. In the conclusion, we have kings and mortal. In the conclusion, we have kings and mortal, but we don't have men, the word men in the conclusion. But we have the word men in both the premises. That means our middle term is men. Okay, so our middle term is men as it is there in both the premises but not in the conclusion. So our middle term will be men as it is in both the premises but not in conclusion. Okay, now next question. Okay, from this portion, questions came in 3 to 4 years. Okay, so in SYLLOGS we use Venn diagram to do what? What is the function of it? Represent and assess. To represent and assess. Assess what? The validity. To represent and assess whether it is valid or not, whether the conclusion is valid or not according to the statements. So to assess the validity of elementary inferences, what do you mean by inference? Inference means conclusion. So to assess the validity of the elementary inference, that means what? We are getting the elements from the premises and we are deriving the conclusion. We are deducing a conclusion. Therefore, it is called deductive inference. So we are assessing and representing the validity of the elementary inferences of syllogistic form, as we are doing syllogism. So of syllogistic form with the help of what? With the help of Boolean algebra. With the help of Boolean algebra. Okay. So another thing which is very important, that is Venn diagram does not assess the truth but only the validity. It will assess only the validity and not the truth. That means the conclusion may not be true in real world, but it will be valid. Okay, understood everyone? That means Venn diagram assesses the validity in short, and it cannot be one famous questions comes in examination, that is whether Venn diagram is valid or invalid. It will be false because it will assess only the validity and not invalidity of anything. So it will be only valid. So it will assess only the validity. Okay. Now let us come to the next portion. The next portion is regarding copula. So what do you mean copula? Copula is the part of the proposition which indicates relationship. Relationship between whom? Between the subject and the predicate. As I have explained earlier, what do you mean by subject and predicate? So the relationship between subject and predicate is known as copula. For example, are, is, was, were. So if you see these examples, for example, all men are mortal. So what is copula? Copula shows the relationship between subject, that is men, and predicate, that is mortal. So copula is the thing that connects the subject and predicate. So what is connecting the subject and predicate? It is are. So are is the copula over here. Similarly, we can see that therefore the examples are, is, was, were, which are connecting the subject and predicate. Okay, the next one. Quantifier. Terms that specify the quantity. Terms that specify the quantity. Terms that specify the quantity are known as quantifier. For example, all, some not, and no. All means the entire thing, so it is specifying the quantity. No means nothing, and some not means some portion of it. So it is specifying the quantity, therefore it is called quantifier. Examples are all, some not, and no. Now the next portion. Standard form of proposition. Standard form of proposition is actually a representation of the premises or conclusion. Again I am repeating. Standard form of proposition is actually a representation of the premises or conclusion. So standard form of proposition consists of quantifier plus subject plus copula plus predicate. So for example, in this example you can see that some men are mortal. Some men are mortal. So here some is the quantifier as it is signifying the quantity. Men is a subject. Copula is are and predicate is mortal. Copula, the are, is connecting the subject with predicate, that is are is connecting men with mortal over here, and quantifier some is signifying the quantity. Now next, example 2. All men are mortal. Again, all is a quantifier signifying the entire thing. Men is a subject, mortal is a predicate, and are is the copula which is connecting men and mortal. Okay. Now let us see some introductory approaches of drawing Venn diagrams. Starting from, we will only have 4 kind of things in our examination. That is all, some, no, and some not. All, some, no, and some not. So we will see how to draw diagram with respect to that. Okay, let me tell you students that we will draw the Venn diagrams only with respect to premises. We will draw the Venn diagrams only with respect to premises and not with respect to conclusion. Okay, so let us start the diagrammatic approach of Venn diagrams. Here it is given all A is B. So all A is B means the entire A is within B. Okay, so the entire A is within B. So first we will draw a in a circle, and we will draw a big circle, that is B, and the semicircle A will be inside the big circle B, that is all A is B. Next one, sum A is B. So sum A is B that first we will draw a circle A, and then we will draw a circle which will overlap some portion of A, which we will call B. So some portion of A will touch some portion of B. So this kind of diagram is known as sum A is B. So another one. We can also draw sum A is B in another method. The entire B can be contained within A. If the entire B is within A, we can also call it sum A is B. Why? Because out of the entire A, some portion has been occupied by B. Therefore, sum A is B. So, sum A is B is similar to all B is A, as I have explained in this case. Because the entire B is within A, so we can call it all B is A. Now, the next diagram. No A is B. No A is B means A and B has no relationship. So we can draw a circle A and a circle B, and we can just give a cross sign because they have no relationship between them. Okay, so we are drawing it separate. Next one. Sum A is not B. This is very important, very confusing thing for all the students. Now, we can solve it by this example. We can draw a circle named C, and outside that we can draw a circle named A. So C is within A. That is, we can say all C is A or sum A is C. Okay, and we can draw B just touching A. That means we can tell sum A is B. But C and B are not touching. Why? Because if it is given here, C is not B. C is not B, so C and B are not touching each other. So C is not B, we can say that sum A is not B. If it is mentioned that C is not B, we can say sum A is not B. Why? Because if C is not B, as C is within A, occupying some portion of A, so that portion will not be equal to B as C is not B. Therefore, sum A is not B. Thank you students for watching my video, and please subscribe to my channel for regular videos of paper 1. In my next class, I will explain different kind of sums from previous years of Venn diagrams using syllogistic approach. Thank you.